In the news at noon, federal government says 2 million people will start receiving 20 billion naira monthly from June. Local government's chairmanship hopeful will file their bond on leads family to Thanksgiving service in appreciation of God's abundance, preservation, and mercy upon his life. Residents of Woodward Park decry non-accessible state of the road for over 10 years. On the force in the French President Emmanuel Macron says Russia must answer for crimes in Ukraine. And sports, Poland's Iga Świątek becomes women's tennis number one after Miami win. Details coming up shortly. Good afternoon, welcome to the News and Plans Radio 101.1 FM. I am Bright James. We begin the news this afternoon from the home scene where, in expression of gratitude to God for his abundance, preservation, love, grace, and mercy upon his life, a local government's chairmanship hopeful Friday of honor yesterday laid his family to a Thanksgiving service at inside Bible Church in Sikaido, New York, where he narrated how he was incarcerated wrongfully for over 2 years because he attempted to seek the office of chairman of his local government area. Speaking at the Thanksgiving service, Bono explained how much of a testimony his life has been in recounting his travels while he was incarcerated and how God showed up to intervene and saved him from the hands of his accusers, despite different court litigations that ended in his victory. He added that when it seemed like all hope was lost, God handed him victory. Bono noted that good people must not give up seeking elective positions, as this was the only way the country could witness true growth. He, however, admitted that this is a task that would not be easy, but still a task that must be done nonetheless. He warned the church after the Thanksgiving said a prayer over upon his family and prayed that God would restore the years he has lost through the travels he had to suffer in the hands of political detractors. Issues, some residents in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital, have called on government at all levels to intervene and address the irregularities surrounding the hike in prices of basic commodities like sachet water. Speaking with Planet News, some of the residents lamented over the hike in price of water that was previously 10 naira a sachet and is now 20 naira a sachet or 3 for 50 naira depending on the location. Specifically, they said a 20 pieces bag of sachet water rose by 100% to sell for a minimum of 200 naira or 170 naira wholesale price, also depending on the location, compared to an initial average of 100 naira per bag. Further, speaking with a correspondent of Lawrence Essien, they appealed to the government at all levels to intervene as inflation and price of water is further greater hardship in the country. Recall that Water Producers Association of Nigeria, WAPAN, had in November 2021 stated that the price of sachet water could rise from 20 naira to about 50 naira per sachet if the federal government implements the proposed excise duty on carbonated beverages. The report said the statement was following the move of the House of Representatives Committee on Finance to amend the Finance Act to include levies on all carbonated and non-carbonated drinks. On our community news, some residents in Uyo, via Akwa Ibom State capital, have decried the non-accessible state of the road for over 10 years. Speaking with Planet News, the village head of Taibiako, in its local government area, Tino Bong, said the road has been deplorable since 1992, and as a result, most residents have evacuated the area owing to the fact that it gets worse by the day, especially during rainy season. With all the residents of the area, they lamented not experiencing any development or reconstruction of the road for many years. According to them, the sideline road has become a refuse dumping site and suitable breed spots for mosquitoes and harmful insects. They appeal to the government to come to their aid and fulfill their age-long promise to repair the road.
10 years for thereabout cannot pass to the soil. There's water.
Now to the national scene, where the federal government has said that 2 million people start receiving about 20 billion naira from June this year's basic cash transfers and conditional cash transfers under the National Cash Transfer Program. According to reports, the federal government would pay the 2 million people 5,000 naira each under the basic cash transfer, an additional 5,000 naira under the conditional cash transfer. This implies that the government would be spending 20 billion naira on the beneficiaries. On her part, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Dia Farouk, stated that the number would increase further in June, adding that under the cash transfer scheme, the federal government supports poor and vulnerable households with cash on a monthly basis. She explained that the ministry designed and piloted a shock responsive social register called the Rapid Response Register to capture urban or informal workers who are daily wage earners working across towns and cities and impacted by the COVID-19 lockdown. In the meantime, the federal government has ordered telecommunications operators to power all outgoing calls of all subscriber identification module SIM cards not yet linked with the national identification number effective today, April 4, 2022. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Pantami, announced this in a statement saying that the move was part of the implementation of the NIN SIM linkage policy of the government. The statement was jointly signed by the Director of Public Affairs, Nigerian Communications Commission, Ike and Head Corporate Communications National Identity Management Commission, Kaide Adegoke. Recall that the federal government had mandated telecommunications subscribers to link their SIMs with their NINs in December 2020 as part of the administration's security and social policies. But reports say as many Nigerians have faulted the effectiveness of the NIN SIM linkage as kidnappers of Abuja Kaduna train passengers and others still phone victim families to demand ransom and go scot-free, untraced with their NINs. Meanwhile, in the statement released today, Pantami said as of date, over 125 million SIM cards have had their names submitted for linkage, verification, and authentication, while the NIMC has issued over 78 million names till date. You're listening to the news on Planet Radio 101.1 FM. You're listening to Breather. Now, he's spoken repeatedly with the Russian leader Vladimir Putin since the invasion of Ukraine, and has been wary of provoking the Kremlin, calling deliveries of tanks or aircraft to Ukraine red lines. In sports, Poland's Iga Świątek has been confirmed as the new Women's Tennis Association #1 in the rankings released today, replacing the retired Ashley Barty. The 20-year-old celebrated a new status and started winning the Miami Open with a straight sets victory over four-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka. Meanwhile, Świątek's victory made her only the fourth women's player in history to win the Indian Wells in Miami doubles back-to-back. The former French Open champion already holds a substantial lead over a second-ranked Czech, Barbara Krejcikova. On the entertainment scene, American R&B subduo 600, the group project of Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak pulled an upset yesterday to win the Grammy for Song of the Year for their single Leave the Door Open. Reports say it was the third Grammy of the night for the super duo, who channeled velvety R&B crooners on their throwback hit. The best of the crowded field that included pop queens Billie Eilish and Olivia Rodrigo. While Mars was a long-time Grammy winner with 11 wins to his name before this year, shared the coveted prize honoring best songwriting with collaborators including Paak. As in the news on Planet Radio 101.1 FM.